In this project, you will explore and compare the characteristics, values, and behaviors of Fillennials and Millennials. Definition and overview of Fillennials and Millennials. Identification of key characteristics and traits associated with each generation. Analysis of how societal changes have influenced the development of Fillennials and Millennials. Comparison of values, attitudes, and behaviors between the two generations. Reflection on the implication of these generational differences in various aspects of society. So what is the definition and overview of Fillennials and Millennials? Fillennials are commonly characterized by an increased use and familiarity with communications, media, and digital technologies. They are also known to be an advanced generation in terms of technology utilization. Even in terms of work ethics, they are known to be non-linear individuals, which the traditionalists sometimes misunderstand. They are also marked by an increase of liberal approach to politics, economics, and morality, although this claim is disputed. While millennials are the demographic cohort directly following the Generation X, it is also known as Generation Y or the Net Generation. The Center for Generational Kinetic mentions 5 generations that presently make up our society and specifies birth years for each generation as follows. In here, we have the birth year cluster. From 1996 and later, we have Gen Z, iGen, or Centennials. From 1981 to 1995, we have the Millennials or the Generation Y. From 1965 to 1980, we have Generation X. From 1946 to 1964, we have the Baby Boomers. From 1945 and earlier, we call that the Traditionalist or the Silent Generation. We have here the 7 basic traits of millennials. Number 1 is they are special. They are the most educated generations on record. Number 2, they are sheltered. Since birth, they are known to be from many forms of protection. They are the most protected generation since their birth. Number 3, confident. They are known to be less religious, less serve the military, yet as the most educated generation. Number 4 is team-oriented. They like to band together to socialize in groups. In schools, they prefer working with groups rather than individuals. Number 4, conventional. They take pride in their improving behavior. Their taste to arts and music is less extreme than the previous generation. Number 5, pressured. They wish to be ahead of things, successful, and take advantage of opportunities but avoid taking risk. Number 6, achieving. They are known to be of many achievements as youngsters. They can be associated with their being proactive in life. The development of Fillennials or the Filipino millennials has been significantly influenced by various societal changes, both globally and locally. These are the aspects that contribute on the development of Fillennials. We have socialization and identity formation, economic shifts and workforce dynamics, technological advancements and social awareness, generational contributions and challenges, social change and boundary setting, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and last we have the generational perspective. Socialization and identity formation. Number 1, circle of socialization. Fillennials, like their counterparts globally, are shaped by early socialization processes. From a young age, they adopt cultural norm, language, and societal expectations through their interactions within their communities. This early socialization impacts their understanding of acceptable behaviors, right and wrong, and emotional responses. Number 2, changing parental expectations. Traditionally, Fillennials were encouraged to follow stable and reliable career paths similar to their parents. However, these economic realities have shifted. The expectations that higher education and stable jobs will lead to financial security no longer holds true. This shift forces millennials to reconsider and often innovate in their career and educational choices. Economic shifts and workforce dynamics. Number one, economic instability. The economic environment millennials face is less forgiving than that of their parents. The ability to work a summer job to pay for college or to secure a well-paying job post-graduation is diminished. This economic instability compels millennials to seek alternative career paths, often involving multiple jobs, gig economy roles, or entrepreneurial ventures. Number two, inclusive practices. The traditional workforce, which was more accessible to previous generations, often exclude marginalized communities. Millennials are keenly aware of these disparities and are motivated to create a more equitable society. They push for inclusive practices and policies in workplaces, aiming for equity rather than mere equality. Technological advancements and social awareness. Number one, we have digital influence. Technology plays a crucial role in the lives of millennials. The proliferation of digital platforms and social media provides them with tools to connect, learn, and advocate for social issues. This connectivity enhances their awareness of global issues and mobilizes them towards activism and community engagement. Number two, cultural and social awareness. The rise in diversity and representation in media and technology has influenced millennials' perspective on social issues. They are more informed and vocal about matters like racial equity, healthcare access, and social justices. This global awareness translates into local activism and efforts to address similar issues within the Philippines. Generational contributions and challenges. Number one, millennials. Filipino millennials born between 1981 and 1996 have lived through significant events such as political upheaval and economic recessions. These experiences have modeled them into resilient individuals who seek to contribute to society through various professional fields, including politics, law, and business. Generation Z. Filipino Gen Z, born between 1997 and 2012, are still young but have already shown a strong inclination towards driving social change. They utilize technology to raise awareness and advocate for equitable practices. The COVID-19 pandemic and other global disruptions have further shaped their understanding of the world and their role in it. Social change and boundary setting. Number one, redefining boundaries. Gen Z, including Filipino members, are redefining personal and professional boundaries. They prioritize mental health, work-life balance, and the power of no. This shift is a departure from traditional expectations of relentless hard work and sacrifice. Number two, challenging the American dream narrative. The traditional American dream, which promised success through hard work, is being questioned. Millennials observe that this narrative often excluded marginalized communities and failed to account for diverse family structures and systemic inequalities. They advocate for a more inclusive and equitable visions of success. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Number one, embracing diversity. As one of the most diverse generations, millennials are adept at engaging with peers from various backgrounds. This diversity is reflected in their push for inclusive policies and practices that acknowledge and address historical and systemic challenges. Number two, creating equitable spaces. Millennials work towards creating spaces that are equitable and accessible. They are implementing DEI principles in various sectors to ensure that opportunities are not just available but attainable for all, regardless of their background. Generational perspectives. Number 1, intergenerational dynamics. Millennials are often face challenges in bridging generational gaps. Older generations may hold traditional views that conflict with the progressive and inclusive values of millennials. Despite this, there is a growing understanding and respect for diverse perspectives. Number 2, youth activism. The activism and advocacy of young millennials are sometimes dismissed by older generation as inexperienced or naive. However, their lived experiences and the pressing issues they face drive their determination to create meaningful change. Comparison of values, attitudes, and behavior between the two generations, the Fillennials and Millennials. Millennials, born approximately between 1981 to 1996. Values, individualism and self-expression. Millennials value individuality and self-expression. They seek authenticity in their personal and professional lives. Work-life balance. Prioritizing a healthy work-life balance is important. They prefer flexible work environments and value experiences over material goods. Social justice. Strong advocates for social justice issues, including equality, diversity, and environmental sustainability. Attitudes. Tech-savvy. Grew up during the rise of the internet and are comfortable with technology. They often prefer digital communication. Skeptical of institutions. Tend to be skeptical of traditional institutions such as government and large corporations. They seek transparency and accountability. Collaborative. Favor collaborative work environments and value teamwork. They are often more open to diverse perspective. Behaviors. Digital natives. Heavily reliant on technology for communication, shopping, and entertainment. Active on social media platforms. Delayed major life events. Tend to delay traditional milestones like marriage, home ownership, and starting families due to economic uncertainties. Conscious consumers prefer brands that align with their values, especially those committed to sustainability and ethical practices. Fillennials, the younger generation, born approximately 2010 onwards, also known as Gen Alpha. Values: inclusivity and diversity. Value inclusivity and diversity highly. They are more likely to be accepting of different cultures, identities, and perspectives. Environmental responsibility. Deep concern for the environment and sustainability, influenced by movements like Greta Thunberg's climate activism. Mental health awareness. Strong focus on mental health and well-being. They value mental health support and open conversations about mental health issues. Attitudes. Digital natives 2.0. Born into a world dominated by smartphones, tablets, and the internet. Highly proficient with technology from a young age. Global awareness. More globally aware and connected, influenced by the internet and social media. They often have a broader perspective on global issues. Optimistic yet realistic. Generally optimistic about the future but also realistic about challenges like climate change and social inequalities. Behaviors. Early adopters of technology. Quick to adopt new technologies and platforms. They prefer interactive and immersive digital experiences. Influence from social media is strong. Reflection on the implication of these generational differences in various aspects of society. The difference in generation classification significantly impacts various aspects of the society due to their different area of existence, which may be influenced by the emerging surge of globalization. In terms of work ethics and values, the older generation grew up in an era which is the economic growth and industrialization is just far approaching. As a result, they tend to be more self-reliant, resourceful, and independent, while millennials has an innovative mind, prioritize work that aligns with their values, seek flexibility, and strive for healthy work-life integration. This difference has a huge impact in the working environment. For example, while working on board ships, some of our officers comes from older generation and some belongs to millennials or Fillennials, so they have different perspective in terms of working strategy. In terms of communication styles, older generation prefer to have a direct or proper communication with face-to-face interaction, also emails and phone calls as a means of long-distance communication, while millennials or Fillennials often use instant chatting or modified phrases in words terminologies, video conferencing, or video calls for long-distance communication. As we relate it in our profession, communication is crucial on board and generational classification styles in some time a hindrance to it. Except for language barriers, there are also some rare circumstances that our millennial officers use modified phrases when communicating face-to-face off in radio, which is inappropriate and very prone in miscommunication and can lead to further danger. In terms of technological proficiency, millennials has an innate and understanding of digital tools and platforms. They readily adapt to new software, social media, and mobile technologies, which enables them to navigate the digital landscape with ease. While older generation did not experience its integration to the same extent during their formative years, they need to adapt and learn new technologies throughout their careers, which is a little bit late and difficult for them. Correlation in the work on board, the use of digital platforms is emerging rampantly, so this generational variations has a crucial effect on how to improve the quality of work in terms of technological proficiency. In all contexts, the generational differences has a huge impact in various aspects of society. Understanding and respecting each other's generational differences will promote unity and compensate common conflicts, which will lead to economic and societal growth. We can build environments where all generations can contribute and prosper by implementing measures and strategies that can close these gaps between generational variation, which will ultimately result in a society that is more resilient and cohesive.